So good morning, everybody. It's 10 o'clock. Warm welcome from our side from Budapest to the second edition of the seminar for the seed money facility. Second edition, meaning that today's seminar will be basically a mere repetition of the first one. Don't expect to learn new details. There's one small issue we can update you on, but otherwise it's of course the same seed money facility we are talking about, and we will repeat it. For those of you which are here for the second time, might have to settle information to fill some gaps. And for those which are new, then you will be introduced to the seed money facility. And in case you decide after the seminar to apply and to submit an application, then you are recommended to do that in a focused way. Time is running, and especially those newcomers to the seminar, then they are recommended to use the sources of information, further sources of information, and contacts we will highlight through the presentation today. In particular, you are recommended to contact your respective PACs or one PAC. Regarding the setup of the seminar today, we will first give you an overview of the seed money facility through a PowerPoint presentation, rather short and condensed, because you will find all further details in our manuals and guidelines. And then hands-on, we will go into the monitoring system, into GEMS, where you are supposed to elaborate your application form. And me and my colleague Arpad, which is also hello, good morning, with us today from the financial side, we will go with you through all the steps in the monitoring system. Our part might take 1 hour roughly, and then we have plenty of time to also answer your questions. We received already some, which we will go into after our presentation. And then you are, of course, also invited to submit your questions in written through the presentation. I kindly ask my colleague Nashi, like yesterday with the seminar, to read down the questions we received today. Then let me share the presentation. Seed money facility. What is it? What is it not? What is the general scope? The very character of the seed money facility is that it's a tool for kickstarting the development of strategic projects and large-scale initiatives for the USDR. And those initiatives are to be later financed by any other financing instrument. Can also be us, can be the DRP, but it can also be LIFE, it can be ESF, it can be Horizon, can be whatever funding instrument. I tried to illustrate that here in that slide. So you see on the left side the DRP. We finance the seed money project with a moderate amount, let's say. The task and the challenge of the seed money project is to clearly target one PA. In some cases, it might be also more than one PA. And to develop a main project, so the nucleus for a main project, which you see on the right side, and the main project then is supposed to have a ongoing and strong interaction and interrelation with the PA or the PAs chosen, and the main project is to be financed with a then most probably larger amount through whatever funding instrument. So here we can also see, or I want to highlight that if we talk about the seed money project, the seed money project is clearly has only one purpose, which is to prepare a main project. Seed money projects are not expected to have any impact, territorial or policy impact on their own. And we are not talking about standalone initiatives. but the seed money project is preparing the main project, and the main project is expected to have then an impact in one or another direction. Budget-wise, we have 3.6 million euro indirect funds to allocate for the seed money call ahead, broken down to 12 priority areas, gives an amount of 300,000 euro per priority area. The co-financing rate is 20%, like for all our other projects we finance. The key documents, and this is important, are the call announcement, the seed money program manual, and the guidelines for filling the EAF. So if we go later on with my colleague Arpad in the EAF, all those steps we will explain to you, you will find equally explained in the guidelines for filling the EAF. Our recommendation is that you consult all three documents in detail. It's an investment which for sure pays back, and without thorough knowledge of those documents, you very quickly come on the wrong track, or you forget or don't consider enough certain important details. Timeframe and procedure. Here, the only real novelty of today's presentation is highlighted in red. We shifted the submission date of the call a little bit, so it's later. Good news for you, and it's now the 3rd of April. The call is already open, so you could theoretically start right now to go to GEMS and to start to prepare the project. The duration of the project is 12 months, which will be covered by one reporting period and one report. Since the seed money projects, as we will learn in the next slide, is purely output-based, we are not against if you finalize the outputs earlier, in 10 months or 9 months. We had that already, also those cases in the first seed money facility we ran through the DTP in the last report programming period. The estimated starting date, also that we don't want to hide, is May 25. But let me add here, since it may appear a bit late for you, that this is basically the most conservative timely calculation, since we have also the second call running in parallel with related assessment tasks and so on. We are quite busy in that period, and the start of the seed money will heavily depend on how many projects we receive in the very seed money facility and how many projects have to be assessed. And the same goes for the second call for proposal, which are regular standard projects, bigger projects, and are also rather time intensive in terms of assessment. So May, I would not say it's the last possible date, but there are chances that the start will be earlier. The procedure is a one-step procedure. For those of you who know the program a bit better, you know that we also have two-step procedures in our toolbox, but this is a one step. So you submit in one step the application plus annexes. Project structure. So this is apart from the scope and the limited, let's say, financial allocation, the main difference to our regular projects. The seed money projects are clearly output-based, and we have the three outputs, compulsory outputs, which I will illustrate a bit further in the next slide, but here they are mentioned. It's a report of the state of the play in the field concerned. It's the main project work plan, and it's the report of funding possibilities. Those outputs are compulsory. Each seed money project has to provide them and to tackle them in the application form. You would not, then there's no chance to be funded. In case you address those three compulsory outputs only, the maximum contribution of indirect funds is 50,000 euro. What is new compared to the seed money call we had already, that this time we consider also the possibility that certain projects with certain topics, which are, for example, very new, very innovative, have never or seldomly addressed before in a transnational context, might require further activities, additional preparatory activities, which can be added, also some more words later on that. And in case you would add those preparatory activities, then the maximum amount granted in terms of Interreg funds to the project is 100,000 euro. Now, what do we expect under those outputs? The report on the state of the play is basically the description of the needs, a needs analysis, an analysis of the challenges, of the gaps in the field concerned. It might also include an overview of past and current activities which have been already carried out and on which you base your idea, or your idea plans to complement certain already implemented things. This is the report of the state of the play. The main project work plan, and we mean here basically an outline of how the main project content-wise will look like. It's a work plan describing activities, outputs, expected results of the main project. It should contain an outline of the potential project partnership. Here we know that since we are talking about seed money stage, you might not be aware to name each and every partner you want to include in the main project, but it should be at least an outline of the types of partners you want to address, their number, and so on. And a third component of that main project work plan is that you provide us with an indicative budget plan. The third output is the report of the funding possibilities. Here we expect from applicants to analyze the funding landscape in the field concerned and to provide an analysis of the funding sources of the main project, which might be more than one funding source. And in addition to also to add a roadmap, which is breaking down basically your ideas into concrete steps. So in terms of which funding possibility to address at what time and how. Additional preparatory activities can be a lot. We do that for the first time. This is, let's say, needs-driven component. So we cannot say it's this and this and this. But in general, as I already outlined, those are activities mainly we expect in novel fields to sensitize partners, to build up networks, or strengthen networks which do not exist in a certain field or only rudimentarily. It can be also comprising participative planning initiatives, certain studies to fill gaps in the evidence base, and so on and so on. We will here in the assessment and also during the conditions steering of approved projects go case by case and try to understand if those activities are really needed. And then the three compulsory outputs can be complemented accordingly with those additional preparatory activities. Eligible partners. There are four main groups: local, regional, national, and public bodies, bodies governed by public law, international organization, and private bodies. What is crucial and the fundamental principle of our program is that all partners must have legal personality and to comply with further eligibility criteria. This is a larger field. We keep here limited on purpose. Details are provided in the manuals and guidelines we have. And additionally, since the DRP national contact points are in charge formally to confirm the eligibility of partners in case of doubtful, let's say, cases, you are recommended to discuss this with the national contact points. You can also address us, but in the end, it's the national contact point confirming the eligibility of partners. So they are the best actors to be addressed. Next slide. In terms of geographical eligibility, we can say that the partners, of course, have to come from the eligible program area, meaning all DRP countries except Germany. What is the exception in Germany? The exception is that there are only 2 Länder eligible, Bayern and Baden-Württemberg. So partners from those 2 countries, Länder, and or partners which are competent in the scope of action for certain parts of the eligible area and carry out activities which are for the benefit of the regions in the program area. What do we mean with that? In case of Germany, for example, we have the structure of national structure of research institutes, Leibniz Institute, and others, which are basically have expertise, are the only actor in the entire country with expertise in a certain field, covering also Bayern and Baden-Württemberg, and we had it already in that named case, the Leipzig Institute, which then were declared eligible. Here, please go case by case. If you want to include such a partner, please discuss it with the German national contact point. Not written here, but implied is that from Ukraine, partners from the entire territory are eligible. I add this because if you look at the map in the lower right corner of that slide, only certain parts of Ukraine are included, but it was decided that the entire territory of Ukraine is eligible in terms of partners. This applies, what I said now, to directly financed PPs, meaning that those partners have their own budget, and then we have a further category of partners called associated strategic partners, which do not have their own budget, but they are sponsored through a financing partner. And those associated strategic partners can come either from EU countries or from non-EU countries from the program area. So it can be partners from Luxembourg or the Netherlands. If we talk about EU countries, if we talk about non-EU countries, then only those covered by the program area are eligible. That's an important slide for the partnership requirements. Important also because we saw that there are some questions which you handed in beforehand around that. So each partnership has to be composed by minimum 2 partners or maximum 5 partners from at least 2 countries of the program area. Lead partner has to be 1 partner and at least 1 more. Lead partners, and this is new as compared to the old transnational program, can come either from EU member country or a non-EU member country, with the exception of Ukraine. Ukrainian partners can be full partners, but no lead partners. In terms of private bodies, there's a further limitation. Profit-making private bodies cannot be lead partners, but other partners can. So there are non-profit-making private bodies enough, and we have enough examples where those also then acted as lead partner. The legal implications behind, based on national law, are diverse and complex. And in case of a private body wanting to become a lead partner, the respective actor is recommended to contact the national contact point just to be 100% sure that he's eligible according to all program rules. Here I included an overview of the partners, which is taken from the program manual, which is very good, I think, and gives you a one view type of understanding of the different partners and what we mean with them. Budget structure and eligible expenditure. So once again, a view on the general, let's say, figures, which are the following amounts for our projects addressing the three compulsory outputs. It's 50,000 indirect funds. Adding the co-financing, that makes 62,500 euro. And the full package, including those optional outputs, would give 125,000 euro total project budget. The budget structure for each project, and I like those two bullet points because in so far we had here several slides to go through. So the budget structure is very much simplified, which for sure is also an advantage for you. There's staff costs only eligible, so you only have to calculate staff costs, and the rest of the costs are a flat rate, which is 40% of the staff costs. And the calculation, also the system, the GEM system, will support you. Details on that later when we go into GEMS by my colleague Arpad. Staff costs. What is included here? We understand the staff cost as gross salary, meaning the all costs directly linked to salaries, employment taxes, social security, including pensions, and so on. You can budget staff costs either as a full-time assignment or part-time, which in most cases is applied. And of course, here in the case of part-time, the eligible staff cost is the total monthly salary, gross salary, multiplied by a fixed percentage, for example, 50%. Eligibility in time, this is also important to understand. Costs are eligible between the start date and the end date of the project. So when they are incurred between the start date and the end date of the project. This I highlight that point because it might be, if a project starts, that the subsidy contract is not signed yet, but this is not changing the eligibility of costs. So if you start in May 24 or 25 and the subsidy contract will be issued only 2 months later, then still the costs are eligible from May 25. And the expenditure has to be paid between the start date and the end date of the project plus 60 days. Reporting and reimbursement. I already mentioned that we only have one reporting period in those specific seed money projects, which is so good news for you. Usually in standard projects, we have a half-yearly reporting. So here you have to prepare only one report at the end of the project. Shorter project implementation and sooner reporting is possible. I mentioned already, of course, the sooner you end, the sooner you can prepare the project report, and theoretically then also the reimbursement will happen earlier. And the estimated reimbursement of the indirect funds will happen approximately 5 months from project end. We will see that the GEMS also contains an attachment section, and here you are expected to upload the following documents, so-called lead partner confirmation sheet, which is not very complex to be elaborated, a partnership agreement in which all partners and the lead partners have to countersign, a statement of co-financing, state aid declaration, associated strategic partner declarations in case you intend to include such partners, and the declaration of international organizations, again, only if you want to include such. You are recommended here not to take that too easy and to wait too long for the issuing of those documents. Okay, we don't want them in e-version for the application, but still signatures have to be done. And if those documents or one of those documents are missing by the deadline and the application is submitted without them, then that can lead to eligibility problems, which we see here. Not the problems, but the way the eligibility assessment is performed. I split the table here. The left side is numbers 1 to 8. Those 8 criteria are criteria whose non-fulfillment will affect the project, meaning that the project itself will turn ineligible if they are not fulfilled. Like, for example, that the application form is not compiled in English, but very briefly, each by each. So you have to submit the application form, of course, within the deadline. You do it 1 minute later and the project is ineligible. The application form has to confirm that it has to contain the lead partner confirmation sheet. It has to be compiled in English. The partnership composition has to be in line with our rules, which I showed. The lead partner itself has to be eligible. Again, so even if then another partner or the other partners would be eligible, then but the lead partner not, the project is not eligible, and we have no room to then to declare another partner the lead partner or what. So if the lead partner overhanded in application is not eligible, the entire project is not eligible. We have those 3 joint cooperation levels we will see later on in GEMS. Have to be indicated. You have to choose 3 here. It's a compulsory requirement coming from the regulation. You have 4 options. You have to choose at least 3. And the partnership agreement has to be complete, and the maximum budget of the seed money facility has to be in line with the figures I outlined, which are also provided in the call announcement, of course. So all those criteria are criteria which might affect the project itself, whereas the other 3, 9 to 11, are just affecting partners, meaning not fulfilled, then the partner is not eligible. And here we have as first the number 9, that the partners are found to be eligible by the national contact points. And the submitted partner documents have to be complete, meaning the co-financing statement, state aid declaration, and the ASP documentation has also to be complete. In case of incomplete or missing documents, we also grant you a healing, so-called healing period of 5 days. So we will go through the applications, and after some weeks, for in those cases where the documents are incomplete or missing, we will grant you those 5 days to heal it. If then this is not done, then the project is found to be eligible. This was the eligibility assessment, and here now 2 slides on the quality assessment. And now I will not go in each and every point. What I want to show you here that the quality assessment, and this is also new with that seed money facility we are launching now, is done jointly between the USDR side and us. So also the USDR colleagues are involved in the assessment of your proposals, namely in that part where they are experts for. And you see here in the left box the criteria is the relevance of the project topic to the USDR action plan, and there are two sub-questions below it. So the USDR side is assessing that fit of your project idea to the USDR action plan, whereas the DTP side is going through the other criteria, namely around the transnational dimension and impact of the main project, the coherence of the seed money project work plan, the partnership composition, target groups, and the value for money. You will find also the assessment. All of what I present here is in greater detail described in the program manual, and details are also contained in the or duplicated in the call announcement. And again, also don't forget the guidelines for filling the AF. Now, yeah, we had the topic of further information and sources of guidance. So, as first, I want to mention the USDR PACs and also steering groups. Each PA has two PACs coordinating the PA, but there's also a steering group which has representatives of each country, and also those actors could be eventually useful for getting information about the fit of your project idea to an PA. If you want to clarify that point, then the first and best solution is to contact the PA. Clear statement here. You see, second bullet point, it's us, but we are rather providing technical support and guidance regarding the project structure, budget, GEMS. We have also a certain thematic background. We are also on a thematic level dealing with the topics of the USDR, not with all, but yes, so we are not out of scope regarding. We are also knowing about the USDR action plan, but still, I want to highlight that here we have a clear allocation of tasks, let's say. So the thematic questions are to be clarified with the USDR, and the more technical ones with us. Having said this, let me add that since the USDR PACs are also involved in the assessment, it would be tricky if they, let's say, go very deeply in developing a proposal. So this should not be the case. The PACs, your expectations should be accordingly. The PACs are not helping you to fill the application form, but they give certain feedback on the fit, certain general feedback on the fit of your topic, your project topic, to the PA and to the action plan. Then we have third bullet point, the DRP NCPs. They can be contacted at early stage or as a first step, because also the guidance given will be in local language, which might be helpful. And moreover, they are the ones dealing with eligibility questions. We have the DRP website, of course, where you will find those documents I mentioned. And then there are those info events, ours today, the last one, the second. There have been already several from the colleagues from the USDR. There might be some further. We are slowly heading towards the submission of the proposal. So, but it's a word to contact the PAs, to go on the website of the USDR to see if some events are planned still. Last slide. Here the contact here at the DRP by thematic field. So for the priority areas 1A, 1B, and 2, in case you have questions here. You want to target those PAs, and you have the questions around the technical details of the submission of a proposal. Please contact my colleague Horst Schindler. We have the priority area 3 applications, which should contact my colleague Natalia Leholot. We have 4, 5, 6, the environmental pillar, which my colleague Gustav Chommer is dealing with. We have 7 and 8, the more innovation-related PAs, and here my colleague Catalin is to be addressed. 9, the social and skill or focused topics. My colleague Stephen Hedigan will give you support, and I myself am dealing with the PAs 10 and 11 mostly. And if you have specific questions here, then you can call me directly. And in general, so let's say questions which are dealing with the seed money itself, the facility, and are very general, you can also address me. Financial questions, my colleague Arpad is responsible for. So that's it as a first, let's say, introduction and overview of the seed money facility as such. And now I give the floor to Arpad, and we will basically start from scratch. We will go into the system, we will create a project, and then we will go through each section and fill box by box.
Thank you, Johannes, for this presentation. Good morning, dear audience. So let's see how all this goes in practice. And for this one, I'm going to kick off to an internet browser. So what we need here, basically your starting point is our website, interregdanube.eu, where you can access this tab GEMS, and from GEMS you click on login. So the prerequisite of accessing the system is if your email address has not yet already been added to GEMS, you need to go to create new account, where you record add your email address to the system, and then with your email and then with your password you can log in. So pretty much you will get this screen when you first log in, and here you will see two open calls. There is and the first one out of it is the DRPS, the EUSDR seed money facility call, and you can start creating your application by clicking on the apply. So let's see how it goes. I've just clicked on it, and here we go. This is the screen, the first screen. It says create a new project. So let's see how it goes. First of all, it asks for a project acronym. Let's call it Demo Seed Money Facility Project. Yes. So click on create project application. And this is the screen you will encounter. So here on the left side, you will have the menus where the different tabs which you will navigate through. And we start from the very beginning, project identification. So here you will need to give a project title. Let's call this, we already provided the project acronym demo seed money facility project, and extending this demo seed money facility for priority area, let's say 3. Okay, So the project duration, there is only one option for in month. So you will introduce here 12 basically. So it is 12 months for the period of the project, which is one period. The priority area, pretty much you can select only 4, but there are different priority areas pretty much where you can adjust with your project, and you need to click in this support for the governance of EU SDR. And for the project summary, this is a short description, a short and suggestive description of your project proposal, and you are welcome to make reference to the priority EU SDR priority area that your project proposal is targeting. So let's text. And of course, at the bottom of each tab, you will find the save changes, which is pretty much all the time you need to click on it and save the data recorded. Then you can go further, and this tab for the moment shows nothing because the other step is to record add partners and to record details to the partners. So we click to the add new partner, and the first thing is to specify the role of the partner. Usually it is the lead partner to start with. So the abbreviated name of the organization, MOLP, and for the sake of simplicity, I just copy paste this further one to the name of the organization, and here also the MOLP, legal and financial information. So pretty much here you will see your option. Depending on the type of your institution, or it might be local public authority, regional public, national public authority. So let's start with a local public authority, presume, which for which the legal status is public. For VAT number, I just insert some demo numbers. Is your organization entitled to recover VAT? So here, depending on your possibilities, for the sake of the presentation, I just click partly and click on create. Yes. So now you see a lot of tabs prompted, like address, contact, motivation, budget, which needs to be go through and filled in. For the address, let's see, country, let's presume it is Hungary. For this project partner, and make it simple, Budapest, again Budapest, Zagreb. So here due to the fact that we already used this environment, for us, it's automatically being filled in with some information. And if you have a home page, you can also insert there address of the department, if applicable, if it is different from the previous one, you can insert it, or you can just record the same data that you have used for the main address, and click on save changes. We are done with the address. The contact is very important to insert the legal representative. Let's say, let's call this legal representative János. And the last name, let's call it Vashvari. Yes. And you are also asked to provide a contact person. And let's make it Laszlo, first name Sabo. First name, yes, Laszlo. And the last name, make it Sabo. I need to watch out. Sabo, yes. Email address. Demo email address. .hu and the telephone number there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, we save changes and we are done with the contact and the motivation. So here you are supposed to present your motivation and make reference of your experience related to the project proposal, those traits that you consider important and which makes you competitive and the most reliable to manage this project. And let's just insert here demo, save changes, and we have arrived to the budget where we only have one option to provide the staff cost for this project partner, because as Johannes reflected, only staff costs are eligible. So here, let's make it, and of course, this is the overview, and it is important you click on the flat rate, 40% of the staff cost, if you wish, but who should not. And for adding the staff cost, click on the add, and let's insert the value here. Let's make it, for example, 280. Yes. And click on the save. Good. And the partner budget overview has been populated. Now you can see. So you can, in this case, the LP staff cost is expected to be 54,280, and the system automatically calculated this 40% flat rate by clicking on other costs flat rate. The next step to be filled in is the co-financing, where the contribution from the program side is the Interreg funds, which is 80% much of the project budget. So now clicking on selecting the Interreg funds, you will see that this project partner is expected to receive like 60,000 euro contribution from the EU, and you are supposed to have a 15,198 euro own contribution, partner contribution to be more precise, because the partner contribution, depending on the country where you are, it might you can also apply for a state contribution. So as you know, the program includes 14 covers 14 countries. Some of these countries provide a state contribution to the project, others do not. So depending on the country where you are, you can you can select this. More information on the availability of state contribution you can find on the Danube Region Programs website by Danube Region Program website. I will show you later where exactly. Let's continue here. So demo appeal, let's see the type of the partner contribution. And this is public amount. And to apply for to have add the state contribution, let's click on add new contribution origin, and name you see here it was inserted, and the type of the contribution, let's click on state, name of the contributor institution, let's presume it is finance ministry. Yeah. And in this case, taking the example of Hungary, who provides 15% state contribution. So previous calculation showed that it will be 3,799.6 euro, and the public pretty much the very own contribution of the partner, who is a public institution. That's why the reason we clicked here on public. So it goes to the difference. Let's just see how much this difference makes up. Yes, 780. Yes. No, sorry. A quick calculation on this. So we have a total partner budget and partner contribution 15,000. So here I think that 3,799 and 6. Exactly. Let's see, and here let's insert the difference. No, just a moment. Yes. We come with a quick calculation. So the project budget is 75,992, and out of it the state contribution is 15%. So here we insert yes, this is it. And the public contribution will be 8,799 and 6. Let's click on Save Changes. And we have it has been recorded. Yes. So this so we are done with this with recording the partner. And for an easy reference, we can go to project budget per fund, and we can click on overview. So here you can see the distribution of the budget, like out of a budget of 75,000, you will need to have this. You will get Interact Fund contribution of 6,700, and you will have your very own contribution of 3,700, and also a state contribution of 11,000. So we are done with one partner, but we know that it is mandatory to have at least 2 partners for a successful applications. So let's go back to partner overview, and here we click on add new partner. So on this side, I will try to be a bit much faster, not going into details. So I will only insert the mandatory fields, PP2, and we'll try to get through it as quick as possible. In this case, let's presume this is a private organization. Let's small and medium-sized enterprise, which legal status is private. VAT number again is your to recover VAT. And we need to also provide the role of the partner as a partner, because the lead partner has already been created. So we click on create. The partner has an address, it also has contact, it also has a motivation, and for the budget, for the sake of the first thing we do is click on the other cost flat rate, click on the save changes. Let's add the staff cost. Let's presume it is 35,000. Yes. And yeah, so here we are done with the data to insert, and co-financing does also needs to be inserted and provided. The co-financing source in each case from the program will be Interreg funds, and it has already computed that for this partner budget, the Interreg funds will be 39,200, and there is a need for a partner contribution of 9,800. And in case of Romania, there is also they also provide state contribution. So a new contribution origin, we click on it and we provide a state contribution. In case of Romania, as far as I know, the state contribution is 18%. So in this case, the PP's private time contribution will be, as far as I know, will be 780. So, and the system comes with a help that the total contribution must match the total contribution difference. So it tells us the difference, 9,020. And here we go. Oh, yes. But it lacks something we need to figure out, because we should be able to click on save changes. Now, this has been selected. It's interesting that name of the contributor institution, so you can see a very small detail makes very much importance. So let's say again, finance ministry. Super, and this the save changes option has been activated, so we click on save changes. And just a quick overview of the budget. We go project budget per fund, and here we go. So this is you can see that in case of this project partner, we have a state contribution, but also have a private contribution of the partner, because it is a private small medium-sized enterprise, and we are close to exploit the full budget available for a project, which is in total, we know it is 125,000. So we are very close to reach that budget. Being done with this, the next step for you will be to go populate to proceed with the project description, and I do invite Johannes to guide you through this section of the application, which is for project description. Thank you for the moment for your attention, and we will be back to address your questions at the end of the presentation. Thank you. Johannes?
Thank you, Arpad. We come to the content part of the application form. Regarding the general features of the GEMS, you saw already that it's quite clear and self-explanatory. Actually, we did not experience bigger problems or so minor ones very, very rarely. So far, we run 2 calls already in the system, and it's quite handy. We can say, and that might have been also your impression already from the instructions given by Arpad. Yes, we have those asterisks, so that you should always consider that, or if that save function is not activated, so please search for those fields which have such little red star. And Arpad also highlighted those overview functions. So information which is inserted by you in one place is then accumulated in other places and can be viewed and double checked. Is also very helpful. And last general remark before I jump in the content part is that you should always press save in order not to lose data, which also we have no bad experiences reported so far, but still regularly press save. Good. Once you did the project identification and inserted the partners, you will reach the project description. And here the first point, C2, project relevance and context. Each box is containing a short guiding sentence or sometimes more of what is expected. And I recommend to you carefully reading those instructions because in case, for example, of C2.1, what is the theme of the main project to be developed, including the challenges it tackles, the main objective, and the expected result. There's a important information here in placed, which is that we talk about the main project. You're not supposed to formulate here the main the topic of your seed money project or the main objective of your seed money project, which is to develop a bigger project, but you should already anticipate the main project to be developed. I highlight this because in other boxes, for example, target groups, not the main project is meant, but the seed money projects, but we will get to that point. Technically, of course, go in and you start to type. Below it will show the number of characters. You see here 5,000 characters. It's the limit, and which you have to respect. And that's it. Yeah, here as well to mention just right from the beginning. If you read through that sentence, you have there several elements mentioned, namely the theme of the main project, including the challenges. Challenges, needs are a further element. The main objective and expected result. And all those elements, theme, challenges, main objective, expected results, shall be reflected in the explanations you provide. So even though those sentences appear common sense and straightforward, read them through carefully and stay in address those elements which are which are reflected there in a direct and concrete way. Next section is within the thematic field of the main project, what is the relevance of the challenges described to the USDR action plan? So here you make basically the link between what you wrote in the upper box, you link it to the USDR action plan, which includes that you have a look at the USDR action plan beforehand and that you clarify understandings here with the PA directly. Then next box is what is the estimated geographical scope and potential other partners to be involved in the main project. Here we want to understand the geographical scope of your project, namely if there is any, let's say, transnational scope or at least some sub-regions of the program area are tackled, like, for example, some superwater basins, or if it's just a national initiative. Of course, since we are talking here about the USDR and the Danube region, it is somehow expected that you would outline and give an idea that your project is addressing more than a single country, but that it's tackling something which is for the benefit of the entire Danube region. Target groups. And here you see in that guiding sentence under the header C 2.4, please describe how the target groups will be developed in the development of the main project. So here it's not meant how the target groups will be included or addressed during the implementation of the main project. No, we want to understand here how on seed money project level you already start to include crucial target groups. How you do it, you press plus and then you have a drop-down menu which gives some main target groups, which I will not read down each by each. And you can click one and give a specification in terms of how you want to, whom you mean here in that broader umbrella expression provided, because hospitals and medical centers can mean a lot. You have the opportunity here to specify that further and then adding explanations how you plan to involve the target group during the seed money project. You can open as many as you want, and you have also one option which is other, which in quite some cases has to be used because the drop-down menu is not providing the categories for all possible target groups. So then here, of course, you have to explain whom you mean under other and also provide explanations on how to involve those target groups. Next field, C 2.5, is how does the main project contribute to the wider strategies and policies? Here again, we talk about the main project, and it goes like in case the target groups drop-down menu in which some options are already predefined. You see there are less. This one you should tick definitely, although you already provided, let's say, explanations on the relation between your project and the USDR in other fields. Again, here, for the sake of completeness, you should give a comprehensive description on how your project is contributing to the USDR. So that applies to each project basically, and then further strategies can be chosen. Territorial agenda very often applies, and then you provide respective explanations. And since only a limited set of options are given here, we expect that a lot of other strategies not listed, not predefined, will be relevant, and you can address them through clicking Other and to explain what it means. And you can click Other also in more than one occasion. This is a not applicable field. And here we talk about the transboundary impact. How will the main project have a macro regional dimension? So here we want to understand how in the long run, here we talk about the impact. In the previous field, we talked about let's say the transnational dimension, meaning by the project set up and by coverage of activities. Here you should elaborate more how in mid and long run the impact will be for the benefit of the macro region. You save changes, and that's it. And we can move to the section C4. C3 is a not applicable section, and that's the work plan. That's basically the core of your application. And here you have to start with carrying out important task, which is to create outputs. And we saw earlier in my presentation that everything in those seed money projects, it's around 3 or 4 outputs, and you have to address those outputs. And here in that section where you are asked to define the outputs. Unfortunately, we could not predefine the outputs, and you are strongly recommended when defining the outputs to basically copy paste the title of the output directly into to use exactly that title, which is also given in the program document. Like, for example, the output 1. Please write it down like this: output 1, report on the status. Okay. So don't start to make own creations or to amend or to change words. That leads to confusion. We might not be able or fully able to verify if that output is addressed. Don't merge two outputs in one. Again, you are clearly and strongly recommended to copy paste the title of the output. We are talking here about the title of the output. What you do under them, that's another question. But the titles of the output should be copy pasted, best case, from the program documents or from my presentation, like you wish. Here you give a kind of summary of the activities planned under that output. There will be a section in which you have to define each and every activity, but here you just give an overview. Save. And that applies, of course, to the other 2 or 3 in case you have those additional activities outputs. Let's go to the tab Activities. And here you are, of course, now completely free. Having that space, let's call it like this, to create the activities and to explain them as they are intended by your project. You have to insert here the period 1. It's only one option given since there's only one period, and also the end period is the same, but please indicate it. And in the description of the activity, let me highlight that that we expect that you clearly indicate in a first header, basically, the amount of the activity, which, let's say, 10,000 euro. Do it like this. And then you can start to describe the activity. We recommended to do it like this. In the end, what we care about is the activity budget indicated or not. We had cases where for some reason it was indicated in the end, at the end of the box. Okay, the information is there. We don't care. For us, it's easier to understand it like this. It matters because if the activity is, for example, to have a meeting with 5 stakeholders, then in order for us to evaluate if that activity is appropriate, provides a good value for money, we know how much is the budget. The meeting as such with 5 stakeholders is super and can be okay if it's the budget for it is 500 euro, but if the budget for it is 80,000 euro, we would come to a different conclusion. So the budget is crucial for understanding the appropriateness of activities. This is why please make it visible and easy for us to understand. For each activities, you are also supposed to define deliverables. Deliverables can be understood as concrete intermediate outcomes of your activities, which then lead to the output. And you can here give the deliverable a certain title, like mediate report on something. You describe it, delivery period. It's 1 by default. Regarding if you define a deliverable for a certain activity at all, or how many, there are no rules. There are certain activities which have a more, let's say, discussion type of character or a discursive character, which might not even have a concrete outcome, or it's very difficult to define one, or it would be not very authentic to define one. So then you don't have to go into that. See now that we have here the energy is indicated. It's low. Just 1 second. It's plugged. So I don't know. No energy on the plug. And I will speed up a little bit. YouTube has got and so it goes. So the deliverables, yes, there can also be more than one deliverable for one activity. It also depends again on the budget. So the budget reflecting is whether activity is less or more complex. The higher the budget, the more complex an activity should be, and then also the thank you. And then also the let's say it's more probable that one can find more deliverables under that activity. To define deliverables is recommended whenever it makes sense. So don't make artificial stuff, but it's recommended because actually it helps during the assessment to understand better the activity and how the activity relates to the output. Save changes, and that's it. And now I can stop here regarding the activities because those steps are repetitive and to be done for each activity under each output. Don't leave blank description fields. Provide as detailed descriptions as possible. Here again, the number of characters is shown, also how much are left. So please exploit them. We are not in school. If you have a very tiny activity, we don't, of course, expect large explanations, but there are other bigger ones, crucial ones, more complex ones. And here, sufficient detail of level of detail is expected. Let's move further to the project time plan. This is auto-generated. This is just a view. Depending on everything will give period 1 basically. So here it makes no big, let's say the value added of the view is limited. C7 is project management. And well, you are expected here to respond to the respective questions. How will you coordinate your project? Who will be responsible for the coordination? Will you have any other management structures, thematic groups, subgroups, task forces, output activity managers, and how will be the internal communication work? The seed money projects are, of course, less complex than other projects we finance with 3 million, 3.5 million. Also, the time frame is limited, so we don't expect here some over complex structures to be outlined, but you should give us an impression, plausible impression, that you reflected that the management of even such a project is a challenge, and that you have certain ideas in place and certain structures and processes in place. Same goes for the quality insurance regarding your project. Your approaches, processes, and responsible actors should be described. In case you plan a project evaluation, that should be described how and by whom and when this is done. And we have on the not applicable fields until we come to section C 7.5 cooperation criteria. I mentioned already, please don't forget to click here at least 3, otherwise your project will be ineligible. What is meant with those cooperation criteria, and the same goes with the horizontal principles, is explained in detail in the program documents. So you will find further information on that in our documents. And if you still have questions, which can be, then this would, for example, be a typical question to address us, the DRP.js, and not the PUC. And with that, the section C7 is concluded. Just to show you perhaps how the horizontal principles, also again, self-explanatory, sustainable development. Say you consider you have a very environmental projects, for example, and there is no implication regarding sustainable development. Neutral. In case of neutral, you don't have to enter an explanation, or perhaps a short one why it's neutral, but then here with regard to strategic environmental assessment, that project would be expected to provide a larger and more meaningful explanation. Say changes, and we go to project context. Here, the last questions. Which funding instruments have been already identified in view of funding the main project? So yes, there is one output you should provide, which is about identifying the financing instruments and the way how to address them in the end. But still, for us, it's important from which point you start, and this is the place where to explain it. C8.2 will the main project be a standalone project or part of a bigger project. So in many cases, we don't want to anticipate here anything, but by experience, most of the main projects to be planned and to be kickstarted here through the seed money project will be standalone projects, but it's not excluded that they will form also part of a bigger project, eventually financed through different funding instruments, even in case they are bigger, integrated and horizontal initiatives. Then here's the place to outline this. And we have the box C8.3, which can be left. If I say can be left, then you will see that in some occasions, not here, we experienced that the Save Changes field is not activated. And in such cases, it's worth just to indicate not applicable here, and then it should appear. So now it's not the case, but in case you will face that situation, then go into that non-applicable field and indicate the letters of your choice non-applicable. And then, so our experience, then the Save Changes button is activated and you can save. That's it. We have just one more thing to consider, which is that now you filled the application form, but as you saw, part of the application package are also those additional documents you have to provide: financing statement, partnership agreement, lead partner confirmation, state aid declaration, those declarations for associated strategic partners and international organizations in case. And application annex is the place to upload them. It's very easy. You go on the button and you upload the respective files. Very last step before submitting is you run the pre-submission check. You have to do that, although I can already advance, it will not show any results. The check itself is not activated. So the system will not provide you any results, but still technically you can submit only if you press the pre-submission check. For the non-activation of that pre-submission check, there are technical reasons. I don't want to explain now, also because I cannot explain them actually. But the system is fluid. It's not so it is completed step by step, and this part is simply not provided yet, which means that the system gives you no help in understanding if certain compulsory fields, like for example, to take 3 horizontal principles, cooperation criteria is fulfilled or not. This is why you should check all those crucial neuralgic points on your own. We, however, tried to help you in the guidelines, and those very crucial things are highlighted with a red bold font. So nothing should happen here. And again, our experience with the previous 2 calls was that there were no problems, basically. And once you run that non-existing pre-submission check, you double checked and you're sure that everything is complete and fine and good, you can submit. So, second block of our seminar is done. So we showed you the general big picture of the seed money facility. Now you should also have clue how the system is working. clearly no rocket science. It's a very user-friendly system, I would say, and we really had no bad experiences so far. And with that, we would come to going into your questions.
Johannes, before going to questions, let me just go back and present to the applicants how they can get information about state contribution, whether their country provides a state contribution or not. Maybe applicants might need this information. So if you can just go back, please, to the presentation.
Presentation to the
Yes,
to PowerPoint.
To the no, to the gems.
You know what?
Thank you. So let me just quickly go back here. And so how you get information about the state contribution? So you go to the Danube Region Program website and you go to New Funding, click on How to Apply. And at the bottom of the page, you will find this other relevant documents, information on the control system and national co-financing. So as the title of this document suggests, you will find many information on the control system, which at this stage might not necessarily be important for you, but the part of national co-financing, that is what you might need in this case. So you click on the document, and let's presume you're an applicant from Croatia. You can search for Croatia. Yes. And here you will find the description, partner state Croatia, with a lot of information on the control system they have. But you will also find, is there a national contribution co-financing system for state contribution? So in case of Croatia, there is no. For example, if you would search for Hungary, let's go to partner state Hungary. Again, information on control system, which does not binding, but here, is there a national financing system for state contributions? So the answer is yes. You will find the details on how you can contact the national institution to get more details on state contribution, and also there is a description with additional details, how much exactly is the state contribution and how you can apply for it. So this is all from me. And yes, Johannes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Albert, for clarifying that crucial detail. Then let's jump into your questions.
Do you see the questions, or should I help you?
I collected those which came beforehand in a document which I have at hand, Nashi. If there are new ones, those you should then somehow read them down, perhaps. But first, let me perhaps go into those.
Okay.
The ones which came basically by yesterday. Okay, Nashi? Good. So by the end of the registration yesterday, we got the following questions, which we go now each by each, and the financial ones will be answered by Arpad. First, I read them down, and then the answer to them. Do you have to apply as a consortium as for normal large projects, or can one main applicant apply alone? Answer, the requirements for the partnership have been outlined or have been specified. So minimum 2, maximum 5 at seed money stage, and then what you have in mind for the main project has to be described as a part of the content of the seed money project. Can Lviv region of Ukraine participate in the program? Answer, yes. What should be the size of a seed money consortium and how may it differ from the main project? That answer I already provided the previous one. We want to use the project funds to develop and improve infrastructure. What is the territorial area of distribution, action, and validity of the project? This is a very complex and nice question, also by wording, I have to say. And since without further information on what you exactly mean, we cannot provide you an answer which would be of any value. No, we can speculate. I kindly ask the one who posed the question to address us again to figure out who's the respective colleague here at the JS dealing with the thematic field, and then to discuss it with that colleague. In general, but very generally speaking, infrastructure, if we talk about territorial impact, has always the problem that it's place-based. And this is why it can be tricky, but it also can not be tricky because if we think in accessibility bottlenecks or transportation bottlenecks, which exist in one very spot of the Danube area, but fixing them would have the entire Danube area. It can be transnational value added to go in that direction. So this has to be discussed definitely bilaterally with further. And feel free to address us with it, but then with a better, let's say, level of detail. How detailed should the project topic be specified? So use the available characters. This is an important point. This a lot, if not all, is around your topic. So you should not, let's say, spare characters and space to explain it. We are talking here about the main project, and the topic is, let's say, has a whatever topic, it will have a good level of complexity, and the space given for you in the application form is for sure not too much. It's rather too less for explaining it. So here we expect proper and detailed information. I'm interested in developing the Sultan's hiking and cycling trail. I did not know that sultans also have been cycling, but jokes aside, this is a question you should again clarify with the colleague or with the PA or the colleague, in that case, Natalia, which is dealing with the field concerned. I'm interested in the program and its values for the society. Again, a rather deep-going question. Well, we have in the Interact program, which is the foundation of our program, in the very first part, the program mission is outlined, and here you will find some answer on it, more detailed one, and I don't want to owe you one. So in few words, the values for the society is that we are a program of European cohesion policy. We want to improve living conditions for European citizens, in our case, in the Danube region. This is a financial question. I will read it down, but please answer to it. Are costs for the registration of international organizations eligible?
Yes, in the framework of the seed money facility, so we know that only staff costs are eligible, and there is a 40% flat rate to cover all other costs of the project proposal. So please consider when you think about eligibility of expenditure to focus on staff cost only, and out of those staff costs, you will get a 40% statement to cover all all other expenditures. Yes, back to you, Johannes.
Thank you. Next question. What are the key areas to pay particular attention to regarding the application, e.g. important performance requirements, deadlines? I think now, whatever is the background of the question, this has been clarified. So there are formal requirements like deadlines. The deadline is specified. It's the submission deadline. It's the project duration and performance requirements. I mean, in terms of content and so on. So this should have been clarified by the presentations and explanations provided today. Is it better to reference one or more priority areas? This again is a good question. And in my slide in the beginning in the PowerPoint presentation, I just highlighted one priority area, but in fact, seed money projects, as any type of project, can and do very often concern at least more than one priority area. Be it that for the reason that the priority areas in itself are, let's say, close to each other. If we think in priority area 7 and 8 and 9 in the field of skills and competences and educational implications, that there are strong interlinkages. So nothing is against, no criteria will punish you if you address more than one. It should make sense. We would expect then that you reflected on that and you can provide a good explanation for it. There is one point when it gets tricky, and we get those proposals, is that the project state to be a cure-all, basically, by fixing so many problems that they are addressing everything from environment over governance to transport, and then there's also some innovation in it and so on. So you should be careful in moving into that direction. Each project should be focused and have a clear idea what they do, and then it can be that you address more than one, that you address 2 or even 3 priority areas. There are moreover cooperations and interlinkages between PAs, which one would not assume per se, I would say. For example, in the field of transport and security, if we think in trafficking of humans or other items, there are in fact cooperations ongoing and seed money projects addressing this, then of course would also address more than one PA. So nothing is again speaking against it. It should be authentic and then clearly explained. We are looking for the possibility of using Vox Promas as a secondary raw material because we want to contribute to the circulation of substances. This is a kind of niche topic, I would say, an interesting niche topic. And it's to give it let's say label which is used in our program language. It's going perhaps has something to do with the circular economy, or for sure has something to do with the circular economy. So why not? Another point in those very, let's say, specific and niche type of proposals is if they really have a leverage in the end, if they really have the weight for leaving a footprint on a transnational level. But for that, again, I would recommend the colleague behind that question to contact the respective PA, which I could imagine it's either 7 or 8, or my colleague Katalin and or. We would like to know if our association with the hydrogen project is entitled to apply for funding and what the conditions are. This is an eligibility question. From the wording of the question, I cannot give any answer. Please feel free as a first step. We might then further direct you to the NCP, but to offer, let's say, that we would have a look. You can also address me personally in an email, but we would need further information, also legal information of your organization to answer that question. Now comes again one for our part. When planning the budget, can specific service providers apart from the partner applicants be included in the allocated budget lines, or should they be planned through activities and specific service providers obtained through public calls? Are international projects eligible through academia and civil society organizations, networking initiatives, or should the project scope be limited exclusively to the region?
This is a complex question. I see the second part mainly regarding cooperation. Yes, but the first part of the question regarding on service providers. So please consider that the budget, like in our case, simply put, the staff cost is might be the staff cost of the applicant. So in this and in this regard, there I do not see rooms for to include the service providers. So you can only think about the cost with the staff of the applicant, and next to it there is the possibility to use 40% of those expenditures to cover any other expenses that might be linked to the creation of the project proposal. So from my side, I don't see service providers fitting in this call for proposals. Think about just put it simplistic and just focus on staff cost and consider 40% for any other expenditure arising. Yes.
Thank you, Albert. The second part of that question, are international projects eligible through academia? That's a bit twisted formulation. And CSOs, civil society organizations, networking initiatives, or should the project scope be limited exclusively to the region? So as we understand that question, the answer is that we are talking here about the Danube region. We learned from the presentations today that there are certain eligibility criteria connected to the territory of the Danube region and in terms of partners, and there are others which are not. So for example, if you have a project which, yes, is targeted clearly to providing a territorial impact in the Danube region, then this is okay and should be like this. And if you want to add an associated strategic partner, which, as we learned, can also come from any other EU country, then you can add that associated strategic partner, and that associated strategic partner can be a civil society organization, for example, and that we had already also in various occasions. For example, umbrella organizations in a certain thematic field, which are very often located by headquarters in Brussels. Those can be added as a associated strategic partner, and the rest explains itself through the eligibility, geographical eligibility rules of the program. How many years of experience must have a partner NGO? Well, look, especially so in general, we are open and we constantly try to attract also new partners with less experience. And that goes especially for the seed money facility, which is on purpose, let's say, smaller in scope, also finance-wise to be, and also by application form, you see it was not very complex to draft such an application. It is, of course, serious work to be done, but it's not over complex. And so the character of the seed money facility as such is to also to be attractive and to attract less experienced partners. And we know also out of our experiences that this very often concerns NGOs, because NGOs are very often by let's say default smaller organizations which very often, not always, but very often are also less experienced in terms of international activities. So we have nothing against less experienced partners. What is to be considered here, but this is a consideration which has to be carried out within that organization if the capacities in the end in that organization are enough for performing in such a project, because you have to pre-finance also your activities, so there's a financial burden related to it, and you need manpower and so on. So, but from our approach, both USDR and program, nothing against less experienced partners. If there's no experience at all, also no criteria, but then again, so is it really realistic to join the partnership? Is it really realistic to join with a bigger amount of money, or should then be the partner budget perhaps as a really complete new starter a bit limited, or is it perhaps a good option to do that first step as associated strategic partners? Those are questions which should be reflected, but those we cannot answer. They have to be answered by the actor itself. Support and implication of PAC during the seed money lifetime project. There is no rule on how a PAC should support or follow the seed money project during lifetime. What we will do, so the seed money facility is a facility run by the DRP. We give the money, but this is one support measure, one of the 3 support measures of the program explicitly for the USDR. So, of course, we expect that there's a strong relation between and strong interaction between seed money projects and PACs. But we cannot rule everything. I mean, we have already the assessments of the PACs are involved in many regards. We will also then, once the projects are funded, then we will do a lead partner seminar in which we match the projects with the respective PACs and so on. So, but how it then turns out will also life will show. It also depends on personal sympathy and such factors, but there are no rules. But in general, it is expected, and it happened already in many cases like this, that there's a rather close relation between PAC and the projects. At the description of the action in GEMS, do we need to describe deliverables as well? This I have answered. I think you don't have to, but in many cases it makes sense, most probably. Namely, the guideline is not clearly, so this is not clearly stated in the guidelines. Okay, good, but I elaborated on that point. And then we have a longer question put in Hungarian, and I ask kindly, which is just by characters used. I see that it's very technical with kilowatt hours and so on. So I kindly ask the one who formulated that question to resend that question to us in English language, because this is the program language. Any project, be it seed money or other project, would have to be drafted in English language as well. So please redirect that question to us in English, and we will answer to it in due time. those were the questions we received beforehand. Now, Nashi, did we get any further?
Yes, we have a few. I hope you can hear me. First one, it's a question. If indicative budget plan is the investment tab in the work plan, is it the same?
Can you please repeat it louder?
If an indicative budget plan is the investment tab in the work plan, that's the question.
Indicative budget is investment tab.
There is no investment part in the seed money application form, is there?
Yes, indeed, you are right. So pretty much the seed money facility is itself doesn't have investment part. So yes, maybe the elaborate project idea might envisage some investment, but that's the content of the project proposal. This all does not support investment.
Or it's covered by the flat rate.
Yeah, or it's covered by the flat rate.
Okay, thank you. Next one. Briefly comment on the scope of the mandatory outputs. What scope do you expect? For example, page-wise, what is your previous experience?
You will see it. I mean, if you provide the project main work plan, then it depends on the topic you have. It depends on the scope you give to the main project. So there's no one size fits all instruction for it. Of course, if already application form for the seed money project or the content part or the part where you describe your activities is by printing it out 10 pages, then and you are expected to provide a work plan for a main project, which is much more complex and it's only 5 pages, then it's not okay. So the proportions are kind of self-explanatory, but it's very, very hard to answer to that in a general way without knowing further details. This is also something you are free to contact us and to discuss in a phone call, and you might get closer to an answer. But yeah.
Thank you, Johannes. Next one. We find it crucial to ascertain whether the ERP specific objective 1.1, 1.2, and 2.1 will be reopened for the third call. This information is essential for us to develop our project idea accordingly. Could you please inform us if we can expect these sections to be available for the upcoming call? So SO 1.1, 1.2, and 2.1 for the third call.
Yeah. So I cannot advance, as you know, the project funds are exhausted under those specific objectives. This is why they are not opened, and I cannot advance further developments, budgetarian developments, because there might unused money flow back to those specific objectives, which will allow to do something under them. And then also the discussions about the general scope of the third call, strategic call, yes, no, if yes, in which way, are not concluded yet. This is ongoing at the MC level. So I cannot answer to your question simply. Since it's not decided yet, the discussions are ongoing in that regard. If you really only see the possibility for your main project to be financed under a possible Danube third call in those mentioned specific objectives, you unfortunately have to live with that dilemma for the moment. And another way would be to figure out other funding possibilities from which it's clear that they are still available.
Thank you. Does the lead partner and partner contribution has to be justified? And if yes, by which documents?
Sorry, can you repeat it again?
If the partner contribution has to be justified by the project partners and the lead partner, and if yes, what documents are necessary?
The partner contribution. So definitely the declaration of pre-financing and co-financing is the document to reflect the partner contribution, and this document is mandatory to attach to the application, because without it the application would be eligible. Back to you.
Thank you. Next question. Can you please clarify, for a project with the three compulsory outputs, in brackets 50,000 euro, do the 50,000 euro cover the Interreg EU funds or only, or the total budget? Interreg
This is only Interreg contribution, and including co-financing, it gives an amount of 62,500 euro.
Okay.
So the total project budget in that case would be 62,500.
Okay, thank you. Can we have a different consortium leader in the SMF application and in the developed project?
Yes.
After submission, is it possible to download, export all contents?
Should be. It should work. Yes.
As for the eligible partners, only international NGOs are eligible for this call.
Again.
As for the eligible partners, only international NGOs are eligible for this call.
Sounds rather like a statement. So
It's a question.
international, yes. I mean, it depends where you have your seat. What again? Please address us with those questions, and then we see what is behind. So we have structures like the World Wildlife Fund, which is a NGO, I think, and not a international organization, and they have that structure of regional offices or even national offices. And then each, depending, we had the project with the two WWF branches in one project even. And it then depends, is it from the program area or not? So the one who posed that question is recommended to address that question with further details, please, to us.
Also to national contact points.
Or yes. This is also when you are, for example, that the question came from a Bulgarian partner, then feel free to contact the Bulgarian national contact point with the question.
Thank you. And last question. Should we have 3-4 indicators with separate activities?
Yeah, I did not understand completely acoustically.
If should have 3-4 indicators with separate activities.
Perhaps with the indicators, the outputs are meant. I assume, since otherwise we at the seed money projects, we are not dealing explicitly with that. And if the question is whether under each project output several activities are expected, then yes, it depends how. So there's no rule, let's say, but so more than one activity is standard, I would say, but it depends how you formulate. Also, you make one activity and then by the description it is clear that you tackle various things. So there's no rule for it. If we receive the applications and we make the average of activities, under a given output, then I'm very sure that average will be clearly above 1. So we will see that the average will be 2 or 3 activities by project output. But again, it can be justified and fine if there's only 1. If under each specific under each output only 1 activity would look also a bit awkward, and also for us not really would it make more difficult for us to understand the logic of what you want to do. So this you have to have in mind, and in general, if you have a larger process of work under a certain output, then it makes simply sense to break it down to more than 1 activity, to be more transparent and clear to the outside world.
Thank you, Johannes. That was all. We finished the questions.
Good. Thank you, Nashwan. Thank you, Alpert.
It was a pleasure. Sorry.
Good. I saw that you enjoyed as well, and I thank you for your patience, for being here with us today. Yeah, I can only repeat, please make use of those information sources which we highlighted, including us. It might turn out that we say, please go further to the PAC, or please go further to the national contact point. But what I want to highlight is we all, the USDR colleagues, us, as well as the NCPs, we are here to help you and to support you. We clearly hope that we get plenty of applications, good applications. We clearly hope that we will be more than in that first seed money facility, that we will be better in the position to create good, high quality seed money projects for each and every PA. This is a clear challenge. And in that regard, yes, we are here to answer your questions further. There's still good time for you to use those which would start now from scratch. Even then, it would be possible, I would say. Otherwise, since we opened that call on purpose for such a long time, you also should be able to bring your application form in a good shape. And so we wish you all the best for it. We close the meeting, and best regards again from Budapest. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Hello, see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.